What is up, guys? So I've been meaning to do this video for quite some time, but yeah, I like when this bad boy came out, I got it that opening night, the very first night that it was on the shelves. I was like, yep, I have to get it. I have to get it. I've been waiting forever for this movie to come on Blu-ray and DVD and digital. I mean, I even asked my girlfriend to, to buy the digital and it would be on my Fire Stick for me to watch until the Blu-ray was in my possession, and that's how badly I wanted to see this movie. And gotta tell you, I mean, I was so glad to have it, and it took me a while to get to the special features because I enjoyed watching the movie that much. That's how bad I wanted to watch it, and this isn't going to be me reviewing the movie itself. I may mention some spoilers here and there, but yeah, I'll leave the link to the description of videos where I reviewed the movie spoiler free and go into spoilers. So I'll leave the link to those videos in the description. I would like to apologize in advance if you have not seen my spoiler talk on Halloween 2018. I was going completely bonkers in that video. I mean, like, to where some of my words were out of context, where I would say the wrong number of a sequel when I'm really referring to Halloween 3, and when I say this and that. I was bouncing off walls in that video because I just got back from seeing the movie, and I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So I apologize in advance if I seem a bit off. But hey, the excitement can do that to you. But yeah, I mean, like, I'll get to my thoughts on the special features. I mean, before I forget. Yeah, I did like them. I mean, like, with the ones that they mentioned, like back in Haddonfield making Halloween, the original Scream Queen, The Sound of Fear, The Journey of the Mask, and The Legacy of Halloween. I mean, those are pretty good features, but my only problem is that they were all pretty short. I mean, like, they were like under 5 minutes, or maybe 5 minutes tops. I kind of miss when special features were like at least like a half hour long or like 20 minutes long, where they really dove deep into what motivated the studio to make the movie that the special feature is on and whatever, and stuff like that, like where they dive deep into the formula, but they don't really do that so much here. It's sort of like pretty choppy compared to what I said, like what compared to what special features used to be. I mean, even like the DVD of the very first Halloween movie I have, where I mean the feature of behind the scenes was like a half hour long, and even with like Halloween 4 and Halloween 5, the special features on that, the behind the scenes, they're much longer. And H2O, I mean, the behind the scenes is much longer. And even the special features on Halloween Resurrection is a bit longer. And like the special features on the Rob Zombies behind the scenes is slightly longer than it is on this one. Like, that's my only little nitpick with those. And with the deleted scenes, it was fun to watch those deleted scenes, like where you watch and you kind of get an understanding of why they were left on the cutting room floor and not included into the movie. The majority of those scenes, I'm glad did not make it in the movie, but one in particular I did like, where it did shed some light on, was Cameron. Like, okay, where the hell was he during that whole third act? But we get to see what happened to him, like, of why we don't see him in the movie, like where he is drunk as hell trying to reconcile and work things out with Allison, and then cops are telling them to go home, and then he bad mouths one of the cops, and the cop smells alcohol in his breath, and then he gets himself arrested. But I am glad that it's not in the movie because of how the pacing was and the acting from the guy who played the cop, who was basically being badmouthed by Cameron. I mean, he came off as really cringy. I mean, like, I just felt like it's like he's like laughably bad at being a douchebag, like the cop. I'm just like, Yeah. If they did an alternate version of that scene, then I would have wanted it to be in the movie, where we say, okay, this is why we don't see Cameron in the third act, because he got drunk, he got himself arrested. So they could have left that part of the scene in there alone, like if they did it differently. And another scene that I'm really glad that they did not make into the movie is the back and forth between Dr. Sertain and Hawkins, like where they immediately jump, where Sertain jumps way off topic. I mean, he goes from talking about Michael Myers for a minute, and then he jumps right to something else entirely different. Like, have you ever wore women's underwear? I'm like, what? And then he randomly picks his nose. I'm like, yeah, the humor in that scene did not land for me, and I'm glad it was left in the cutting room floor. Like, thank God they did not use that. Like, thank God. Like, with the scene that we've got, it's right to the point. They talk about Michael Myers and why he's obsessed with him. Dr. Sertain tells Hawkins why he's obsessed with him and stuff like that. Right to that point. You know, like, that's all we needed in that scene. And with, like, I'm probably not going to mention all of the deleted scenes, but I did also like when the scene where Laurie Strode, where we see more of her practicing at the shooting range and stuff, and then we see her go back in the house, and then she thinks about shooting herself. She puts the gun under her chin, and then we sort of see Michael Myers in the doorway, like where I'm guessing that's where we get an idea that you know, that he is with her, that he is around every corner in her heart and stuff, like where he sees basically a little sample, a little sprinkle of H2O, like where she would often hallucinate about Michael Myers. Like, it's a little touch of that. But I understand why it wasn't in the movie. I'm fine. I'm kind of glad it's not in the movie. I mean, I don't really need to see Laurie Strode attempting suicide. Like, I don't know. I just don't think it really worked in the story that they were trying to tell with this sequel to Halloween. You know what I mean? I mean, if it was like a whole different take where Laurie was just where she can't live with herself anymore and she is attempting suicide numerous times, then that would have been more understandable. But here, it just didn't work for me. I still strongly believe that Laurie tried to get Karen and Allison to leave Haddonfield, and I do believe that Ray, you know, Karen's husband, wanted to stay in Haddonfield, and then they agreed to stay in Haddonfield together, you know, like, and raise Allison, and then against Laurie's wishes, and then they're thinking, what happened to you was 40 years ago. I mean, it's fine. Nothing has happened since. You know, like, you have gotten out of there alive. I mean, like, this, I mean, like, please do not, you know, like, burden us with what happened to you, and you know what I mean. So I think, you know, like, Ray and Karen, you know, like, I think Ray wanted to stay in town, and Karen agreed, and then that's why they're still in Haddonfield. That's just my take on it. So, and what they could have included into on you know, in this selection of deleted scenes is the alternate ending that I've been hearing about, like in videos, like where I hear what it is, and then I hear about what happened in that in the alternate ending, and I'm like, I'm glad they didn't use that ending for the movie, but I still would have liked to have seen it, you know, because they show little snippets of it in the trailers and stuff, like where you see Laurie and Michael Myers are outside of the house, and then Michael is walking towards her, and she has a knife holding up, and then she's getting ready to stab him, and then he stops her. You know, like, we get a little bit of that in the alternate ending, and I'm like from the sounds of what happened at the very end of that alternate ending, it sounds very anticlimactic compared to the ending that we actually got, like where Michael was trapped in the house and then he's supposedly burned alive. Like, it felt like we had a little bit of a better conclusion to the movie as opposed to the alternate ending, where it's like, okay, it feels very anticlimactic. I mean, to me at least. But I still would have liked to have seen it. I mean, like, they could have added that on there, like this is the ending that we almost had, that we know, where we had to do reshoots and stuff and all that, you know. But yeah, I mean, like, now that I've watched the movie so many times, I really warmed up to Dr. Sartain. I mean, like, if you've seen my spoiler video, you knew that I was not really fond of that character, like, when I first watched the movie. But the more I watched it, the more I really warmed up to him. Like, where he is the polar opposite of Dr. Loomis, like, where Loomis was obsessed with basically keeping Michael locked up or killing him. And then on the other side, we have Dr. Sartain, who is obsessed with trying to get inside Michael's mind, like, trying to understand what does he feel when he kills somebody, like, what does it feel like to be, like, what does it feel like to be in that position, you know, and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And the twist, I accepted a lot more. Maybe that's probably because Michael shuts it down right away when he wakes up and then kills him. I mean, some people felt like, oh, what a letdown. I liked it, that twist. I really did like it. I liked that twist. Me, I was like, thank God Michael just took him out of the equation. I mean, I don't want no stupid ass team up, you know what I mean? But that's just me. If Sartain were to die another way, like, I would just have Laurie Strode blow his head off. Like, if he's not to die at the hands, or should I say the boot of Michael Myers. That was so one of my favorite deaths in the movie. It was so satisfying, I tell you. And there is a possibility that one of the journalists, Aaron, did, like, that he did not die, like, after getting his head beat into the wall and into the bathroom stall numerous times. But I think that after as many times as Michael has been bashing his head into the wall and then into the stall, I would imagine that is a severe injury that could very well kill you a little bit later on in the hospital, if not at that exact moment. So, I mean, they could very well bring him back, you know, like in a sequel or whatever, but yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say until further notice that Michael killed him. Yeah, I think he did. And, and speaking of that, with the deleted scene between Aaron and Dana, like where Dana's taking a shower and then Aaron sort of scares her by wearing the Michael's, you know, like the Michael Myers mask. I'm glad that's not in the movie. I mean, it didn't need to be there. I'm fine that it's not there. Like, thank goodness it is not there. But it was still nice to see. And also, I mean, I think I can get into discussion of, you know, like of the franchise in general for a little bit. For the longest time, I did not look at the other movies, like, you know, the other sequels to Halloween, the way I kind of do now. Like, many years later, like where this new movie was coming out, and then it does make you look at those other movies a bit differently, like where you would say that finally Michael Myers is like how he was supposed to be in the first movie. For the longest time, I thought he was the same Michael Myers that he's always been. That's what I thought, like through the whole thing. Like even when they included the whole Thorn curse thing, I really thought. I mean, like even with the theatrical cut of Halloween 6, I felt like this is the same Michael that I love, know, and love. That's for the longest time. I've always thought that. I didn't think they humanized him. I just thought he was, you know, they tried to add something there to it. You know, like add a little bit more to it, since, you know, like if we're gonna make sequels, we got to add a little bit more meat here. You know, and I'd really applaud everyone, like everyone behind the 2018 sequel for, you know, like destroying all that continuity like that came after the first movie and just to try something different, and it worked. I mean, overall, it worked really well. And either you can accept both sides, like these are sequels that have been made and they do very well exist, even though some of these movies ignore them, or you can just ignore all of them and just say this is the definitive sequel. All I need is to see this and this. That is it. But me, where do I stand? I am right in the middle. As you can see, I clearly have all the movies outside of part 3. I mean, like, I have all of them, and I can include this in my collection. Finally, my collection is complete. Halloween 3 doesn't count. I mean, it stands on its own, and I'm fine with that. But yeah, I mean, this is the whole collection right here, baby. But yeah, I mean, like, looking back many years later, like, to certain sequels where you think, like, hey, this sequel doesn't hold up, and this one doesn't hold up very well. H2O is a good example of that, because at that time, I really loved the movie, and I even forgave the the music score. I was just like, this movie is great. Many years later, it doesn't hold up to me as well as it did back like 20 years ago. I mean, like, I still love the third act. I mean, the third act is like my favorite part of the movie, and everything else just doesn't really stick as well as they did. And I even thought Halloween Resurrection was good, even though I did not agree with it being made a little bit. But as years went on, I was just like, ugh. I'm starting to hate this movie now, like, where my attitude starts to change over the years. And with the many other sequels, like even Halloween 2, I looked at it a little differently. Like, yeah, I'm like, I didn't think the whole twist that they've had carried through all these movies, I didn't think there was an army of people who were like, I fucking hate this. I mean, like, why did they destroy what I loved about the first movie? Like, why did they do that? I thought it was something that they were fine with until, this movie came out. They were like, yes, they're shutting that all down. Yes, bring it back to what it was. Let's get back to the basics. I feel like they already kind of did that with Halloween 4, I think. And, but yeah, I mean, like, I might do a ranking of the franchise. I might. I mean, not that I'm really thinking about it, but all these movies will still hold dear to my heart, no matter what I think of that. And I think one of the, like, looking back on, like, the Rob Zombie sequel, even in the theatrical version, I prefer that more than the unrated version. Still, yeah, there are some things I did like about that movie, like, like with the little homage in the hospital scene and the ending. I did like the theatrical ending, but the get from point A to point B. But I don't regret owning the movie. I mean, it's a part of the collection. I mean, I'm that much of a fanboy where I have to collect, all of these movies that include Michael Myers, and I just, enjoy them in their own little ways. Like, I still, like, and with Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, that's the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I hold that one close to my heart. Like, no matter how many times my attitude might change over the years, it hasn't changed that much. Not that much. But I will still hold it close to my heart because that was my first, like, big screen experience with Michael Myers. And with, like, with that all being said, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, I'm right in the middle, like, where I enjoy what we've gotten before, like, with all these movies that came after the first one. I'm glad that they're there for me to enjoy, and I can also enjoy this and just jump on the other side. I can bounce around either way. I feel like, why not? I mean, like, why can't you do it? I mean, if you choose one side over the other, I totally respect it. I totally understand. But feel free to tell me, which side do you prefer? Like, what they've been doing with these other movies, or with this movie shutting that all down and just following the first one? I mean, feel free to tell me in the comments section. I mean, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts on are with that. I feel like there's a lot of creativity on both sides, and I just felt like, yeah, I mean, as long as they have Michael Myers being Michael Myers, like, where he doesn't rely on help from anybody, and then he just when his mind is set on something, and when he wants to kill you, he will not stop until you are dead. I mean, that's the Michael Myers that I want to see. And then that's what we indeed have in, in these movies that I thought, and then in this one, like in the new 2018 one. But yeah, I mean, I do look back on some other sequels differently, like where I'm like, yeah, I mean, the portrayal of Michael Myers is not quite as intimidating in this sequel or that one or that other. But still, I mean, I feel like compared to the other horror icons like Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, I feel like Michael Myers kind of stayed basically as they kept Michael the same as much as possible, like with most of these movies, like with the exception of the producer's cut for Halloween 6, where they kind of tamed his violence and his killer mode and his killer instinct. I hated that. I'm really glad I didn't make it into the that didn't become the actual movie. I mean, that's just one aspect of Michael Myers that I hated in the producer's cut of Halloween 6. Like, but yeah, I mean, I did review all these movies individually, like in my channel, so you can feel free to just type in Nerdy Blasian in Halloween, and it should come up like in the search results. So yeah, I think that's all I can think of what I would say about the Blu-ray of Halloween 2018 and my thoughts on how my attitude has changed with the other movies like since this movie came out. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video and this discussion on the franchise and my thoughts on the Blu-ray of Halloween 2018 and the digital copy and the DVD, feel free to thumb up the video. Make sure you click subscribe if you're new to the channel, and make sure you click that notification bell so you can be updated on my latest videos. And thank you for watching. And I might rank all these movies, including this one. So yeah, I might just let me turn it the other way. Here we go. I may rank all these movies like in the near future. So I'll keep you updated on that. I mean, I'm leaning towards doing it. It's just a thought process right now, but right now I'm leaning more towards, yeah, I think I should. But yeah, keep on the lookout for that, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out, y'all.